You know, I wouldn't have thought you'd want to hang around with these coconuts, considering they're the ones that killed your son.
You invoked my son's name in a business dispute? Bavangu Dinamort!
Godfather of Harlem, episode 4 review. If you're not watching this show, you're missing out on a great historical reenactment of Bumpy Johnson, the big drug dealer from Harlem, and what he had to deal with in getting out of jail, coming back trying to reclaim his territory, and dealing with the Italians that hated the Negroes, and still trying to be a philanthropist, raise his daughter, and go through all that. And we're going to cover what happened in episode 4 right now. If you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Join the Life Gain Squad by turning on those notifications so when we drop videos, you get them. We are still doing the Power Season 6 t-shirt giveaway. All you got to do is be a subscriber and leave me a message about Godfather of Harlem, how you feel it compares to Power, and if you're enjoying it. For all you cord cutters that are looking to get some free streams to the end of the year, just click on that first link in my video description. This episode was all about the fight between Cassius Clay, we know him better as Muhammad Ali, versus Doug Jones, who was a big-time hero in the Harlem area. A lot of people liked him. They thought he was a handsome dude. And this episode starts out with him in the ring and Bumpy Johnson's wife getting up there, giving her speech about why everybody should get behind him. He signed some gloves that he raffled off for her because, you know, she got in bed with Congressman Powell, who basically told her to do this nonprofit thing for the kids, and she'll get Bumpy Johnson to back him in his congressional bid. And so she's really pushing up Doug Jones, but later in this episode, you're gonna figure out is more to it than just Doug Jones' golden gloves that she was pushing up on. And as she's going through her spiel, Louisville Red, Cassius Clay, comes in, and you know he is known for being one of the biggest junk talkers ever in history. He sees her, he makes a few little comments about if she's hot, and then Bumpy Johnson, who is also known for being very witty, he jumps in there, says some witty stuff to Cassius Clay. Cassius Clay goes back with him. Bumpy Johnson eventually says something a little bit more witty. But the whole time, the daughter, Bumpy Johnson's daughter, sitting there like, oh, daddy, he reminds me of you, blah, blah, blah. And so you can kind of see that they're planting the seed that even though this man jumped up there and tried to holler at Bumpy Johnson's wife, in essence, Bumpy can kind of see a little bit of himself in Cassius Clay. Then they cut from that scene and we walk outside and Bumpy sends his family about their business. Then this lady pulls up in the car and asks Bumpy to get in. The lady we find out is Amy Vanderbilt. She is part of a group that is funding Cassius Clay as he goes up the ranks to becoming the heavyweight champion. And basically she's also the old jump off for Bumpy Johnson. He was cheating on his wife before he went to jail. And she's looking at him like, bro, what's up? You want these draws right now? She tried to give him the draws in the car and Bumpy's like, nah, you know, I'm trying to be straight with my wife. You know, I don't want to be cheating on Mamie, anything like that. And basically leaves this lady who is milky wet like a leaky faucet, mad and upset, hops out the car, goes about his business. Then they cut to a scene where we have Vincent's daughter, Stella, who loves African-American men, and the current dude she's dating is trying to get his music act together. And in the earlier episodes, Vincent basically beat up one of these dudes. He don't want his daughter messing with no Negroes, and he's been having some of his people tell her to see what she's up to. Well, she kind of lost that tail, and she's with the guy that she's dating now who does music. She's trying to convince him to let's move to California and get away from all this. And they didn't finish out on that end of the story, but we'll see what happens as it goes. Then they get further into the story. Cassius Clay goes and meets Malcolm X because Malcolm X is a hero of his in the things he's tried to do with the Nation of Islam and basically fighting white violence with black violence. Cassius Clay decides he might want to become down with the Nation of Islam, so he meets up with Malcolm and they're basically talking about, you know, you with your voice, you know, you can have a major voice for this movement. And you shouldn't, and Malcolm X encourages him not to come out and become Muslim until after he becomes heavyweight champion. However, what they didn't know was Vincent had some of his Fed buddies that have been taping Malcolm X's conversations, and so they catch Cassius Clay in there saying that, and then Vincent nabs Cassius Clay, tells him to sell the fight, basically lose, and Cassius Clay's like, nah, I don't do that. I'm not gonna do that. But Vincent said, if you don't do this, we're gonna release this tape and see how far you get pushed in, because during that era, and even in this day still, Anglo-Saxons wasn't too keen on Muslims, things like that. And basically that would have pretty much eliminated him getting booked by any fight promoter. And it goes on, and you see Vincent, he gets into it with one of the old guard who's coming back and wants to take over some territory in Harlem. Vincent disrespects him, basically says your son got killed by niggers and they should have, and all this and that, and it looks like there's about to be a little bit of a war going on with them. But the old school dudes, they settle it down and you get that situation fixed up or whatever. Now Malcolm goes to Bumpy to be like, look dude, we don't want Cassius Clay tape to get out. Can you do something to fix it? And Bumpy's kind of like, nah, I don't want to help you, whatever. And Malcolm is so mad with Bumpy, he's like, dude, do you remember how you was back when you was young? This man has an opportunity to help our causes, advance our narratives, to get equality for African Americans, and you're not gonna help. And he's not gonna help. And one of the reasons he's not gonna help is because the wife really wants Doug Jones to win, because this also soups up the politician, Congressman Powell, helps him, gets that money for the nonprofit, and there's some other reasons why the wife don't want to help that you find out later. But in essence, Bumpy tells Malcolm to, you know, just F off, dude, I'm not gonna help you, whatever. And they move on through the end of the story, and Cassius Clay swallows his pride, meets with Bumpy, give him a passionate speech. Bumpy kind of sees himself in Cassius Clay and does decide to help him. They go to Vincent, kill off some people, get the tape, burn them up, and then you have the big fight. Now, mind you, Vincent has told people, you know, Vincent has been selling people to bet on Cassius Clay because he thinks Cassius Clay is going to sell the fight. So some of his enemies he told them to bet on Cassius Clay, but Vincent is thinking Cassius Clay is going to sell the fight. What he didn't know during the fight was Bumpy went and took the tape, so Cassius Clay had nothing to worry about, nor did Bumpy tell his wife what happened either about him helping Cassius Clay, because you know she's in the camp for Doug Jones. So eventually you go through the fight, and Cassius Clay wins the fight. Vincent is hot. The guy that he told, the old school mobster, is happy because he made money. And you see Mamie, Bumpy's wife, she is just distraught, upset, and mad. And what we later find out is that Doug calls Bumpy's house, wife answers the phone, and guess what? The wife had been messing around with Doug Jones. And basically the story ends right there. But before we get to all that, Bumpy Johnson did go back to Amy Vanderbilt, the lady he used to sleep with, to ask her to help with those tapes. She basically told him no, she wants to sell the fight too, because she don't want this nigger to advance this fast. They want to milk it for all the money possible. So this is just basically showing you guys just how corrupt everything is behind the scenes, and we don't know about it. They basically was trying to milk Louisville Red as long as they could to make as much money as they could. Then you had the mafia wanting him to tank a fight because they didn't want him to come out and become a Muslim. And then you had politicians wanting the fight to go one way so that they could use a photo op to advance their narrative. Just a big mishmash of mess. But I want to hear from you guys. How are you enjoying this story so far? I think it's a great reenactment of Bumpy Johnson and what he went through and his time with Malcolm X. Good story. Leave me all your comments. That's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like my video. Please comment, subscribe. Go get yourself that life game. If you want to get in to win the Power Season 6 t-shirt, just leave me your comments right here. Be a subscriber. And until the next Sexy as Hell video, I'll see you.